come on up and we'll get rolling.
Can you walk back and forth a little bit so heads up here?
Just get it warmed up.
Yeah.
How are you on that? Hi. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I think now's the time where you're supposed to say, if you're not here, raise your hand, right? Maybe I'll do it better. Is anybody waiting for somebody, a family member or anybody else that's not here, that it's important that they're here? Yeah. We're good? Then we'll go ahead and get started. Well, good morning again. Thank you very much all for being here. And for those of you that are online that might not know me, or for those of you, I'm Matt Packard. It's my privilege to serve as the Chief of the Colorado State Patrol. And today, we're gathered here in Pueblo to recognize some truly tremendous service members of the Colorado State Patrol. And our awards program is something that's really important. It's something that we try really hard to do a good job of honoring the service and the incredible actions, at times heroic actions, of members of this organization. And we've got several of those types of things today. We're going to do some distinguished service and life-saving and some pillar awards, and recognize some of the year nominees for really truly outstanding service and members of the Colorado State Patrol. And I'll tell you, one of the neat things about the position that I have the privilege to hold is I get to read a lot of stories. I don't necessarily get to be out there and see as much as I'd like to see in person, but typically the really remarkable stuff makes its way to my desk. And I'll tell you, it's something that happens certainly on a weekly basis, at times even a daily basis. I'll get a phone call or an email or a stop in the hall to tell me, hey, our port officer in Trinidad did this today, or our trooper last night responded to this call and did this, or our comm officers talked this person off this place, right? It's truly amazing. And I'll tell you, every day a member of this organization steps into a space that would otherwise be unsafe, scary, and dangerous. And because of their presence, their interaction, their engagement, they've made a difference in somebody's life. And that's awesome. And that is true, again, of every corner of every valley, every mountaintop across this state. And today, we're gonna honor and recognize a few people, several people, whose actions came even a notch higher, or 2 notches higher in some instances, that really stood out. And that's tremendous. So as we call and recognize these folks, please give them the congratulations and the recognition that they deserve. But to be in this room and to be an honoree today in our annual award cycle is truly congratulations. I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about the ceremony today as opposed to how we would do it in other times. Our plan originally had been to incorporate our awards into our annual troop meetings. I just want to share for your benefit why we're not doing it that way now, and we're doing it in this manner instead. You know, for the last several years, the most recent ones excluded, we bring everybody to Denver once a year and have a big ceremony in a big room with the honor guard and all of those things, because this day, this event, these awards are worthy of that type of celebration, of all of the pomp and circumstance and the specialty that goes along with that. But we just can't do that yet. And so our best option at that time was to do it with troop meetings, where you'd be there with all your peers, your family could come, we could do it locally, it's easier for people to get to, and you could be recognized in front of with all of your peers, because everybody comes together. Well, this year has presented a different challenge for us, and I don't need to convince anybody in this room that this is the case, but we're hurting for folks. We are stretched thin right now, and there isn't a troop office, a port, or a dispatch center that isn't doing absolutely everything they possibly can to build resources. We need to do, in my opinion, we needed to really lean into the mission of this organization. And I thought for a long time, what can we do to really show and provide a message to the men and women of this organization that their work matters, their mission matters, and now more than ever in a time where we're seeing increasing traffic fatalities, we're seeing increasing dangerous activity in our state's roadways. This is when we need to be there. This is when we need to be the most visible and really maximize the limited resources that we have. So in that vein, and given what's going on in the world, 385 fatalities in Colorado on our roadways as of Monday. That's a pretty tremendous number. And we needed to be present. So I made the decision to postpone our troop meetings in 2021, to give our members the opportunity to go out there and do what they do best, and that's serve the people of Colorado and make particularly our roads safer places. And so that's what we're doing. And so that's why this room is perhaps a little bit less full than it would have been normally. But I hope you all agree with me that the mission of this organization is exceptionally important. And we need to lean into that to do what we do best, and that's save lives in Colorado. So knowing that I've made that decision, I also want you to know that your recognition is also exceptionally important. And the lack of the bigger room or the lack of the honor guard should in no way indicate to you that the significance of your accomplishment, your achievements of your award are any less important to me or anybody else to that matter. It is truly remarkable. And I hope you are as proud of yourselves and each other as I am of you, because what you do is truly, truly tremendous. So with that, as we go through some of these awards today, again, remember, this is not, we're not in church, we're not at the library. This is an opportunity to really celebrate. So be loose, be happy, and let's celebrate and congratulate the folks that are being, except Mike. I'm a little bit worried about Mike being too loose, but anyway, really let's celebrate and let the folks that we're here to honor today know how truly special their achievements are. So with that, I think I'm going to jump right into our awards, and I'm going to start. We're going to do a couple of what I would call our big awards, and I call them big because in our organization, for those of you that don't work here, if you look at our uniforms, there's not a lot of folks that have award insignia on their uniform shirt. And that's by design, quite frankly. We are pretty particular about what we allow to go on our shirt. It's important to me, and I know it's important to our command staff as well, that when you see a member of the Colorado State Patrol and they've got an award insignia on their uniform, that you know that they truly did something significant. And to give you an idea of the process that we go through, is there's a nomination form that comes up, and there's only a handful of categories for awards that go on your shirt. Of course, our Valor Award, our Distinguished Service Award, our Life Saving Award, and our CAST Award, which stands for the Citizens Appreciate State Troopers. That's it. Those are the only ones that end up on a uniform shirt. And sure, we do official commendations, and we do all kinds of other awards, but we hold those ones particularly close. And because, again, like I said, when you see somebody with that red V or the Distinguished Service Star or the Life Saving Cross, that you know that they truly did something above and beyond, and it's special, and it should stand out. And I would ask that you, when you see, it's one of my favorite parts that I'm missing this year about doing troop meetings, is when I'm talking to a trooper, a port officer, somebody that has that insignia on their uniform, just to remind me what they did. A lot of times I can remember, but not all of them, because each one of those pins truly has a pretty remarkable story behind it. And it's interesting to watch, and humbling, quite frankly, to watch as our members talk about the day, that night, that event that they performed in to receive that award. And today will be no different. Today we're going to recognize a handful of 3 people, I think, for awards that are going to result in that insignia. And as I tell these stories, I suspect you will strongly agree with me. The actions of our members are truly, truly remarkable. So with that, we're going to start with a Life Saving Award. In fact, we'll do 2 of them today, but we'll do one at a time. And before I call our first nominee or awardee up, I'll read to you the definition of the Colorado State Patrol Life Saving Award. The Life Saving Award is bestowed upon a member for an act or acts resulting in the saving or preservation of human life that would have expired without direct action by the rescuer, and such action was beyond the scope of regular daily professional law enforcement functions. This is an official award of the Colorado State Patrol, independent of the American Red Cross Life Saving Award. And at this time, I'd like to have Trooper Santiago Marquez come on up. will be a recipient of our life-saving award. Is he not here today?
No, sir, he's with the sheriff's office today, so I can't.
Very good. Well, Steve, you want to come up and recognize it for him? You a sergeant? We'll just talk about this incident that Trooper Marquez was involved in. This was on May 22nd of 2020. And you probably know the story as well as anybody else, but I know you're mixed out now, but you were up there then, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so Trooper Marquez was on duty in Teller County this evening when he and Teller County deputies were looking for a suspect that was wanted for menacing and assault. This suspect was believed to be in the wilderness of Teller County. They were actively looking for this guy. Trooper Marquez heard radio traffic indicating that the Teller County deputy had located the suspect or was in the area of the suspect, and he, of course, responded to assist in that search. As he got up there, he found the sheriff's deputy's vehicle. It was unoccupied. He left his patrol car and was on foot in the area when he heard gunshots. Heard a couple of shots go off, and immediately on his radio, he heard the Teller County deputy advise that there had indeed been shots fired. Trooper Marquez used, he was very tactful, obviously, but moved briskly, I should say, to the location of those gunshots. And when he arrived in the area, he found the Teller deputy, and he also found the suspect. At the time, the suspect had been shot multiple times. One of his hands, in fact, was as a result of a gunshot wound, was missing a couple of fingers. And he also had a gunshot wound to his upper abdomen. I'll just talk about that for a second. You realize, it's easy to gloss over the fact that this is a human being that just heard gunshots, and his decision was to go to those gunshots. And I'll just tell you, that is not a normal human response. That takes a special person to take that type of action. And I'd like to think I know, for the record, that I'm in a room with a lot of people that would have that exact same reaction. The difference being on that day, Trooper Marquez did it. As he arrived there, he immediately recognized the grave nature of the situation. If I'm not a doctor, I promise, but a wound, especially a massive wound, bleeding wound in your abdomen, is absolutely a very lethal wound and can be so rapidly. So Trooper Marquez quickly ran back to his patrol vehicle and had his issued trauma bag, his trauma kit, and returned and used a quick clot to stop the bleeding in the abdomen wound, and then put a big seal on that abdomen wound to preserve that person's life. And ultimately, EMS was able to arrive on scene and transport the suspect to a hospital where they were able to save his life, and ultimately be held accountable for his criminal acts that day. So in recognition of his actions that night to save that person's life, it's an interesting dynamic in this profession, right? This is a situation where we are working to apprehend this person. This person was known to be armed, has a history of assault, and was, quite frankly, believed would have done what he needed to do to harm the police officers, the state troopers, the sheriff's deputies. And that interaction happened, and we immediately switched gears and go into life-saving mode, and we're successful in doing that. So for his actions that day, it's our privilege, and I'll give it to you, Steve, to recognize Trooper Marquez's service and his life-saving award.
The chief's points are underscored by the fact that many of the uniforms in this room would do the exact same thing. They switch from that I'm looking for the bad guy, I'm responding to a threat, to now a life-saving role, and they do it instantly without hesitation. They can immediately switch gears, and it's a credit to Trooper Marquez and all the others that have received this award that have done things like that. So we will make sure he gets this, and many credits to Trooper Marquez. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. All right, let's have Trooper Scott Poynton come up. I know he's here. I saw him already. So this was July 3rd, right? July 3rd of 2020. Trooper Poynton was on patrol in Bent County, and most of you know this area. Bent County is out in 2 Charlie, east of Otero County, out there primarily along Highway 50. When Trooper Poynton was on duty, he heard radio traffic indicating that there had been a vehicle versus bicycle crash along Highway 50. I think that would be western Bent County, right?
Yes.
So he's this collision occurs, and he's relatively close in the area at the time. And when you work in 2 Charlie, relatively close is kind of a relative term, right? Like he was in the same county probably at the time. That's a win for us in 2C. So he heard that call for service and immediately began to respond. When he arrived on scene minutes later, and what he found there was the bicyclist lying in the roadway with an obviously and severely damaged leg. In fact, the leg was mangled, and there was a significant pool of blood surrounding that person, surrounding the cyclist. Trooper Point immediately responded or turned on his training, and also got the tourniquet out of his. He probably has it out of his belt, and began to treat this person. So this is an injury. I'm not a doctor, but a massive leg injury with that significant bleeding, with arterial bleeding. This is something that is likely to cause someone to bleed out. And when you're in a rural setting like that, where help is not necessarily around the corner, the decisions that those first responders make, in this case our trooper, are truly very, very important to preserve life. And he did all the right things. He got that tourniquet, he got it, and was able to put it on this person's leg above the bleeding wound, and ratchet that sucker down. Of course, communicate all the right information to the responding EMS folks, who were able to get on scene, scoop that person up, and then transport them to a nearby hospital. And again, because he's a trooper, Scott was able to just start investigating the crash. That's what we do next. Save a life, start working the crash. And so he starts doing what he needs to do to investigate this crash. And presumably an hour or so later, several minutes later, the EMS comes back by, and the stops to let him know. He said, "Hey, just so you know, that person got to the hospital here. We put him on a helicopter. We flew him to a larger hospital in the city. And the folks in the ER there at the hospital in town evaluated the work that he did and said, there's nothing left for us to do. The tourniquet's on the way it needs to be. We're going to let him be, and they're going to fix him up where they have surgeons and that type of stuff." So it's a good job. You did all of our work for us. And because of his actions, and they also relayed, there's no doubt that the nature of that injury, the amount of blood that had already been lost before he arrived, that bicyclist would have died had it not been for the actions of Trooper Scott Point. So for your actions that day, Scott, it is my distinct privilege to honor you with the Colorado State Patrol Life Saving Award. Thanks. Congratulations. One more round of applause. All right, next we're going to recognize our Distinguished Service Award. The Colorado State Patrol Distinguished Service Award is bestowed upon an employee for an act of heroism calling for an outstanding degree of dedication that is above and beyond professional duty and may include the protection of life or intervention under instances of personal risk. This award is given for an act or a series of acts committed with outstanding courage in a situation that, because of its extraordinary circumstances, place the member and or others in actual physical jeopardy. I'd like to have Trooper Alvaro Acuna come on up. So Trooper Acuna, this was also in July, right? July of 2020. Trooper Acuna was on duty in Troop 2B, which is in El Paso County, and I would assume you were probably on the north end of the county.
Yes, sir.
We have some issues on the interstate that way, right?
Always, sir.
Yeah. So like a good 2-acre trooper, he was working the area and monitoring the radio. There was an incident that was developing to the north of Monument in the Troop 1C area. Troopers in 1C had been advised of a ready report, a vehicle that was driving erratically that was coming southbound on I-25, and I think upon the initial notification was just entering into the area known as the Gap. We had a description of the vehicle, had an idea of what we were looking for, and actually there was also reports that the suspect driving the vehicle, not only was he believed to be impaired, but he was also believed to be armed and had been involved in a felony menacing incident that had occurred earlier in the day. We also believed that the vehicle he was driving was stolen. So the troopers, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were aware of the ready report part initially, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So Trooper Acuna began to move north and get up to that county line, the 163, which is the divider between Douglas and El Paso County. And he was coming up there to set up to do what he can to take this impaired driver, which for the record, It takes about 30% of the lives that we lose every year on Colorado's roads are at the hands of an impaired driver. So this is something that we focus on intently in this organization. In fact, Troop 2B does a heck of a good job of that. So Trooper Acuna moved himself and started to move up into position. There were 3 troopers assigned in Troop 1C that were trying to intercede with this vehicle and found it just north of the Greenland exit, which is that's the 167. The county line is the 163. The plan they developed was they had one trooper that hung back and began a break in traffic, so the other 2 troopers could conduct a felony traffic stop and take this person into custody. So that plan began to go into motion, as you might imagine. When they turned on their lights to make a traffic stop, that person didn't comply, and his driving became increasingly erratic. One of the challenges that we have in the patrol, specifically on that border, is that cross communication. And at the time, Trooper Acuna, he thought he was looking for a ready report. And I'm not sure how much he really knew about what was going on as it approached. Now we're talking probably less than a minute, a very, very short amount of time here. But as the troopers attempted contact, the vehicle continued south and ultimately made a very abrupt and reckless change to the right and exited at the 163. As the vehicle moved up the off-ramp, one of our troopers was able to be right there following him. And Trooper Acuna had just gotten off on the northbound side and in turn was coming across that overpass when the suspect blew the stop sign at the top and made a left turn and tried to move to the east along County Line Road there. I recall reading the statement that Trooper Acuna gave to the detectives that investigated this, and something along the lines of, well, that must be the guy. Here he is coming at us, and he saw all the other cars and was obviously quick to deduce this is something more than just a ready report. So Trooper Acuna began to move his car and park his car in a position that would give us the best opportunity to get this thing stopped. The suspect saw Trooper Acuna, figured out that wasn't going to be his best bet, so he went around and actually went behind his patrol car and tried to wedge in between the bridge rail and another vehicle, ultimately disabling his car. The bad guy jumped out of his car and came around and immediately tried to carjack one of the first cars that he came to. That didn't work out, and then he continued to run to the south and to the east, came to another car, and was going to attempt to carjack that one as well. All the while, he's holding a black handgun in his hand. When he first got out of the vehicle, you can watch him raise the gun and point it right through the windshield of one of our patrol cars. I believe he tried to fire the gun, but had a misfire. He continued to run. As he went to break in or to carjack the second vehicle, one of our other troopers, Trooper Lance Curry, accelerated, made an incredibly courageous decision, drove at the suspect and struck him with the front of his patrol car. This caused the suspect to lose his footing, as you might imagine. He tumbled a couple of times, but I'll tell you, meth is a pretty incredible substance. He hopped up to his feet and began to run. He ran to the south and to the east through a large open field, but about a quarter mile from where this occurred is a neighborhood. They're on the very northern edge of El Paso County. So as this is occurring, Trooper Acuna, Trooper Sargente, Trooper Carlton, and Trooper Curry all leave their patrol cars and begin to move in pursuit of this guy as he's running through this field. He's turning around, waving the gun. Our troopers are moving smartly in an open field, doing the best they can to maintain their own safety, acknowledging at the end of the day, you're in a field, and this is a person that has clearly shown a willingness to be violent, if not deadly. But that did not deter their actions. They continue to follow this guy. Again, this is a quarter of a mile before we get to this neighborhood. And as they're approaching the neighborhood, all of our troopers look up and they notice in one of the houses, there's about a family of 10 that is up on a deck. And they're out there on a Saturday afternoon, for the record, doing the exact same thing I was doing, having a barbecue, enjoying time with family and friends. And this person is clearly headed their way. And our troopers immediately began to use their trooper voices. We all have them, yelling at these folks on the deck. In between yells at the suspect to stop, yelling at the folks at the deck to get out of there, to go inside, get out of the house, those types of things. So the suspect ultimately went into the yard, got to the curtilage area of this house, and our troopers began to set up a perimeter, including Trooper Acuna, keeping themselves safe, taking a position of cover, and getting loud verbal commands to this suspect. Times he would lay down, at times he was drinking from the water, at times he would point his gun at our folks, at times he would point his gun at himself, obviously acting exceptionally erratic. One of our other troopers, Trooper Curry, had gone around the front of the house and I was banging on the front door to try to get their attention, was able to do that. And as he was trying to evacuate this family, our troopers from on the backside of the house continued to engage with this suspect. Ultimately, the suspect gets up onto the deck and then tries to break into the house. Our troopers continue to maintain their composure, good tactfully sound decisions, and stay in the fight, so to speak. Ultimately, the suspect began to fire rounds into the home. He fired through a window and began to gain access into the house. And again, was raising his weapon at our troopers and El Paso County Sheriff's deputy that was inside. And they were faced with the incredibly difficult decision to engage that person in a gunfight. And that suspect ultimately was killed. But I'll tell you what, because of the actions of Trooper Acuna and our other troopers that were on scene that day, there were several lives that were saved. To start with a drunk driver. This is a person who was impaired by meth, who more than likely was going to be involved in a crash and probably hurt, if not kill somebody. And that's what started our response. And then this person engaged in obviously violent behavior, was going to carjack somebody. Well, we have a solution for that too. Then he goes and he invades, and a home invasion, where he goes and fires a gun into a house. Troopers had a response for that too. Our troopers that day, Trooper Acuna, were involved in saving the lives of 10, 12, 13, 15, who knows? Several lives that day because of their heroic actions, their unwavering commitment to the mission of our organization and to making this place a better place to live. So Trooper Acuna, it is my distinct pleasure to honor you today because of your actions on that day in July with the Colorado State Patrol's Award for Distinguished Service. Congratulations.
So first and foremost, all glory be to God. He has provided my family and I with so many opportunities and opened so many doors for me, this job being one of those, of course, and just continually to bless us beyond imagine. I'd like to thank my wife and two boys who Danielle Carson brought her. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, especially with what's going on right now. But I'd like to thank them for their unconditional love and support. And I know it hasn't always been easy, but trusting me and putting their faith in me, and I just can't thank them enough. And so, lastly, I just want to say what an honor and a privilege it is to wear this uniform and to serve my community and the people I love. And there's nothing I did that day that I know that no one else in this room wearing this uniform would not have done. And especially those members out of 2 Baker, my team specifically, how much I trust those guys with my life, and I really do. And I want to dedicate this award to my team, who they were all there within once they started figuring out what was going on, they were all there within minutes, flying from all parts of the county. And I can't thank them enough for that. Like I said, nothing I did that day was anything different than something in this room. I know everyone in this room would have done the same thing. I was just at the wrong place, or I guess right place at the right time, I'll say that day. But again, I just want to thank everyone, thank my leadership for this as well too. Just always being there for me, supporting me, empowering me to make the right decisions, to trust me to do the right thing when no one's looking. And I really feel that. Again, I just want to reiterate how much an honor and a privilege it is to be doing this job, to be serving the people I love. So thank you, everyone.
Trooper Alvaro Acuna, how about that? That's awesome. Thank you. I gotta tell you, I'm just, Alvaro, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your words. We're gonna be okay. If you notice his sleeve, in our world, we call that a baby tooth. That 1 year of service on his sleeve. And if that's what the future of this organization is, then we are going to be just great for the next 29 years, right? All right, love it. All right, we're going to transition to some of our pillar awards. And so this is something that's really important to me as well. You know, when I had the opportunity to take on my role as the chief of the Colorado State Patrol, I was asked What are the things that are important to me as the chief? What do I really want to see us as an organization take on as the pillars of the organization? And throughout the course of the conversation, it became very clear that community engagement was going to be a big part of those pillars. Like it was going to be one of the pillars that if we were going to be successful in attaining the mission of the organization, the engagement of the community, the empowerment of our members, those things were going to be really, really important to us. And so we came up with the idea that let's find those people that embody those things and being visible, that embody those traits to ensure our successful attainment of our mission. So today, it is my distinct honor to honor the Trinidad Port of Entry for our Community Engagement Pillar Award. So everybody from Trinidad, come on up. And I'm going to read what the award is for, then I'm going to ask District Supervisor Wolfram to introduce your team, because better than me reading all the names, I'll have you tell us everybody that's here, okay? So the Community Engagement Pillar Award, this award is presented to a member or members who is actively engaged within their community, a member who understands the community's needs and responds appropriately. Through their service, this member brings upon trust and legitimacy to the Colorado State Patrol and the law enforcement profession. So I'll turn it over to you to introduce your team.
All right, thank you. Robert Santa Stephen, Senior Port Officer Adam Garcia, Michaela Austin, Casey Austin, Dominic Blasi, Scott Seegers, who was with us at the time and now is at the Monument Port of Entry, Mobile Supervisor Joe O'Neill, and Brian Seegers.
All right, thank you, Lorraine. So, one of the neat things about these awards is that this is not the chief, this is not a lieutenant colonel, this is not a member of our organizational command that nominates these folks. We send out a definition of this is what we're looking for, and then in come the nominations. And we have the difficult task, and honestly, I really appreciate this, but it is always a tough decision when you get to read all these nominations. And so, but you read through these things, but what's important is they're coming from your peers. They're coming from people that know what you do every day and recognize quite literally on the street the value of your actions. So this is not coming from a briefing that I get from your leadership. This is coming from somebody out there that recognizes what you do in your community in this instance and its value. So I hope that means something to you. I know it would to me personally, and it certainly does to me in my role to know that I spend a lot of time talking about how important it is that we engage, but here's proof evident that other people are noticing that too, and specifically want to call out the actions of the Trinidad Port of Entry. It's a pretty neat opportunity. That's fine. Like I said, it's a party today. And I'll tell you, Trinidad's a special place too. Trinidad is a community. It's a very tight-knit community, and our organization holds a special place in Trinidad. And to have us as an organization to step up and find ways to be even more visible and to interact with and gain the confidence and trust in our community, specifically in a place like Trinidad, is exceedingly important. And we're going to nominate you, or we're going to award you today for what you all did in 2020. But I know from personal experience, it didn't start in 2020. It started years before that and has continued through 2021. And I'm quite confident that we will continue to be engaged and do all the neat stuff that we do to make sure that the people of Trinidad, the people of Los Angeles County, and the people that are passing through know what this organization is about. And ultimately, we are the community. We are a part of the community that we serve, and you all truly embody that. But here's the text of your nomination. Officers at the Trinidad Port of Entry helped put together food boxes and distribute more than 400,000 pounds. They know that because they can weigh 400,000 pounds of food for COVID relief within their community. Once a month, officers would assist Southern Colorado Council of Governments in unloading and organizing pallets of food, filling boxes, and helping distribute them to between 325 and 475 households every month. Officers would stand out in the heat, the rain, and snow and put about 100 pounds of food in each car that was in line. Can you think about that for a family? 100 pounds of food, what that can do for a family in need. That is tremendous. Their hard work and dedication was a great representation of our organization. Many of the people getting food would comment on how nice it was to see state officers take the time to make a difference during these difficult times. So I'm going to go get the award here. And it is my privilege to present the Colorado State Patrol's Pillar Award for Community Engagement to the Trinidad Port of Entry. I'll give it to you. Then we can do like the Stanley Cup picture. Where we all congratulations. Well done.
It's humbling. It's not easy work, but it's very satisfying. And we all take part in it, and we've all enjoyed it, and we go back every month with or without awards, but we do appreciate the recognition. I'm going to pass this along in case anybody wants photographs of everybody holding. Thank you for recognizing our.
Congratulations to the Trinidad Port of Entry. Just one picture.
Step out of the way so the rest of them.
I tell you, we can do them afterwards too. We'll all be here. All right. Our Member Empowerment Pillar Award. So member empowerment, and I'll tell you just the background, the history here, is what makes this organization great, without question, are its people. We are an organization, depending on the day, I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,200 folks. And I think we talk about them in groups a lot, but truly it's 1,200 unique and incredibly capable and passionate people. And what I truly believe is the key to our success is to figure out how to harness that passion and really empower our folks to step up and use their brain, use their passion, use their intelligence to help the organization be better today than it was yesterday at saving lives. And so this award is intended to recognize a member who is doing just that, who is providing others the opportunity to voice their passion, to themselves use their knowledge and their smarts to help this organization grow better and find new ways to save lives every day. So the Member Empowerment Pillar Award is presented to the member who fosters an environment of trust and respect and who values purposeful innovation and grassroots ideas. This member promotes ideas that make our organization more effective and increases safety for our membership or the public. And today we're going to honor Trooper Thomas, although I've never heard you call Thomas, TJ Steinbrook. Come on up, TJ. Congratulations. How long have you been hazmat? 6 years. 6 years. So it's kind of funny because I'll read through this, but I'll read it. My understanding is you don't think you're done learning. And that's really important hazmat for the record. But I really appreciate the way you take on your job and the way you lift other people up so that we can be better, not only just in hazmat, but be better troopers, be better members of the community, and ultimately make the organization better. So I appreciate your attitude, your commitment, and what you do every day to save lives. So for that, let me read your nomination. Again, this one also came from somebody that works with TJ and has firsthand knowledge of what he does to empower others and to make himself a better trooper every day. Trooper TJ Steinbrenn regards himself as an amateur hazardous materials specialist within the Colorado State Patrol. Although he has been assigned to hazmat for 5 years, Trooper Steinbrenn, 6 years now, 5 years when it was written, Trooper Steinbrenn has distinguished himself through his acquisition of knowledge, his professionalism through stakeholder engagement, and his dissemination of work knowledge to junior troopers. Trooper Steinbrenn has a calming demeanor which speaks highly of his training and love for the career field. He works to recruit members to the section by proactively engaging with road troopers in his area of responsibility and maintaining a high level of work-life balance as he executes his duties. Trooper Steinbrun performs the traditional duties of a road trooper, as well as the labor-intensive daily duties of a hazardous materials trooper. Although his ordinary assigned duties do not allow for a full enforcement of traffic regulations, Trooper Steinbrun issued enforcement citations and had a higher than expected contacts for calendar year 2020. Trooper Steinbrun's presence in the community and high visibility on the side of the road promotes the Colorado State Patrol's mission of public safety, and he himself leverages his talents to exemplify the Colorado State Patrol mission of traffic safety through his proactive activities. Trooper Steinbrun also contributes to the Colorado State Patrol's missions internally by mentoring both newly assigned members of the hazmat section as well as potential applicants to the section. I personally attribute my application to hazmat to my instances that I recall Trooper Steinbrun in the performance of his duties and his professional conduct established a standard for the section. Trooper Steinbrun dedicates his time to the 2C and 2A road troopers regularly and engages them in conversations about career progression, opportunities within the State Patrol, as well as applicable federal and state regulation to assist troopers in the performance of their duties. So TJ is my distinguished privilege today to honor you with the Colorado State Patrols. Member of Congress. Congratulations. Evidently, there's all this talking on the side of the road. All right, and our last pillar award, this is kind of cool because we're giving all three away today to folks that are maybe not assigned to, but certainly work in District 2. Although this person is assigned to District 2. So our Visibility Pillar Award, this award is presented to a member who takes pride in being a visible representation of the Colorado State Patrol. The member is engaged, accessible, and accountable to the service they provide. This member never misses an opportunity to serve, something that we hold very dear. So this year, the 2020 Visibility Pillar Award goes to Trooper Tony Dell. Come on up. All right, Trooper Tony Dell. Throughout 2020, Trooper Dell did not shy away from her responsibilities. She remained visible to the public, constantly patrolling her area of responsibility and maintaining a high level of productivity. She ranked 5th in her troop in calendar year 2020 in proactive DUI enforcement, and she was the first one to pipe up on the radio to take a crash. She was the newest person on her shift. Covered the most crashes in Troop 2D of the 20 troopers assigned within that area in 2020. Trooper Delp also participated in community events, demonstrating to the public, including young, impressionable children and potential applicants, the benefit of a diverse police force and the overall mission of the Colorado State Patrol to reflect the communities that it serves. On one such occasion, Trooper Delp accompanied me to a residence in Pueblo County to follow up on a traffic complaint. As I spoke to the suspect, the daughter of the driver, who appeared to be around 9 years old, spoke to Trooper Delp outside in the driveway of the residence. I saw a sense of wonder in the daughter's eyes as she spoke to Delp and to Trooper Delp that I had not seen before or since as someone spoke to a trooper. Trooper Delp was able to connect with that little girl in a way that I feel like I never could, and did so with little effort. She is unique in this regard. What is remarkable is Trooper Delp's natural resiliency. As we saw the masses of law enforcement withdraw from the public view in 2020, Trooper Delp persisted. She remained vigilant and focused to the commitment to her oath of public safety. When traffic violators escalated, she remained calm. When situations were out of her skill level, she asked questions and requested assistance. When she questioned why she was still a member of the State Patrol, she renewed her commitment to public safety and answered her question with an affirmative, because this job matters and I can help change how the public perceives law enforcement. For these reasons, Trooper Tony Delp is a recipient of the 2020 Visibility Pillar Award. And Tony, I just want to say thank you. And people like you and take on the mission and those acts, those small acts, like a conversation in the driveway, will last forever. And those are the ripples that change the narrative. Those are the ripples that find new people to come and work with us. And your positive attitude is contagious. And in a world, we talk a lot about things that are contagious right now. We want to affect more people with your attitude. So thank you for the way you do your job. Thank you for being a member of the State Patrol, and I look forward to working with you for years to come. You're one of our newer members too.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you on that path and find more ways to have you be even more visible in the community. So again, our 2020 recipient of the Visibility Pillar Award, Trooper Tony Dell. Congratulations.
Sure. I guess I'm not great at speeches, but I really can't accept this award. The troop itself really who deserves this award. They just create such a positive atmosphere. It makes it fun to come to work. It really, I couldn't do it without them. I would like to thank the leadership, past and present. It's clear that you guys care about your people and you take care of them and you never miss an opportunity to just sit down and have a conversation when it's needed. Oh, and thank Mike Blanton as well. I feel like he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff that nobody really knows. So appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, guys.
All right, our final award for the day, or for Pueblo anyway, I suppose, is one of our of the year recipients. So every year we survey for people to be nominated to be an of the year. We do a trooper of the year, we do a professional staff member of the year, we do a port of entry officer of the year, and a communications center officer of the year. And I'll tell you, these are probably one of the harder ones to really select. And we'll go through the many nominations we get in each of these categories and distill those down to a couple of finalists. And that's tough because it's like picking between like strawberry cheesecake and blueberry cheesecake. It's all really good, right? And this is no different. And the nominations we get, I'll tell you, particularly in the port of entry, are always really neat to read, because what you find in the port of entry is you have a group of people that are exceptionally passionate. I feel like I use that word a lot, but I spent some time with port folks, and their passion is infectious. There are a lot of really, really passionate people that believe in the mission of not only the state patrol, but the unique and specific mission of the port of entry. And they're empowered by that. And they do a lot of incredible work to further the goal of the Colorado State Patrol of saving lives. And today we're gonna recognize one of our finalists to be the Port of Entry Officer of the Year. This award is presented to a member who best demonstrates outstanding work performance, initiative, leadership, outstanding character, integrity, and whose actions or performance significantly exceeded expectations as they exemplify the State Patrol's core values of honor, duty, and respect. And I'll just, one other comment there is that today we've talked a lot about specific actions on specific days or in specific circumstances, and really the of the year is intended to capture the embodiment of someone's performance, their work, their dedication over the course of the year. And the calendar provides these really fancy, convenient ways to segment that down. But what you'll find is folks that are recognized for these of the years, is typically, these nominations, you could just white out the year and put in the one before and probably the one after that. This is truly an account of the incredible work and the quality of work that these folks do every day. Today, we are going to recognize one of our finalists for Trinity for Port of Entry Officer of the Year, Port of Entry Officer Savannah Garcia. Savannah, come on up. All right, and like the Pillar Awards, again, these don't come from your boss. It doesn't come from my office. This comes from somebody that you work with. They're truly in the middle of the night on the shift, when it's you and them, they recognize the value of the work that you provide. Yesterday, the day before that, the month before that, and your work was moving enough that they wrote it down and submitted that. So my distinct honor to read that to you for you today. Toward the end of 2019, Officer Garcia expressed her desire to advance in the Port of Entry organization and requested to be trained as an OIC under the mentorship program. The OIC mentorship is formal training in our work setting, completed under the guidance of the district supervisor to enable the officer to learn, understand, and demonstrate the various roles of the supervisor that are needed in a day-to-day capacity in the absence of a formal supervisor. Savannah began this 6-month training process in November of 2019 And she also enrolled in Leadership Police Organization that was being offered in early 2020. She also put in her application to become a Port of Entry Field Training Officer about that same time frame. The author put out a call for volunteers to go to the graveyard shift, and Officer Garcia quickly responded that she would volunteer. And after talking to the two newly graduated cadets, they volunteered to go to the graveyard shift as well. So you can convince people to do things they don't want to do too. That's a good deal when you're doing enforcement. Good skill to have. It has come a win-win-win for us. We were able to spread our personnel around in order to comply with the social distancing rules, and our graveyard officer would have company for the long nights. The new cadets could observe the interactions, ask questions, and be in a slower paced environment for learning about the daily operations while being socially distant, even though they cannot actively engage in the FTO process. Officer Garcia has maximized her time participating in training and utilizing her newfound skill set to train 3 of our newest cadets. Additionally, during this past year, she volunteered to help staff the State Patrol COVID call center and was used in the capacity of an OIC on several different occasions. Officer Garcia rose to meet the challenges head-on, performed all of her regular and additional duties in an exemplary manner, maintained a positive attitude, and has proven to be one of the best officers at the Monument Port of Entry, and is well deserving of the Port Entry Officer of the Year recognition. So it is my privilege today to recognize you as one of our finalists for Port of Entry Officer of the Year. So congratulations. All right. All right. Well, I think we did it. I think we got through all of the awards today. And again, thank you all for being here today. If you received an award today, congratulations. Thank you for how you do what you do every day. Your service is appreciated, it's recognized, and quite frankly, it's nothing short of tremendous. For everybody else that's here, you do amazing work too. And next year, maybe that's your year to be up here, but no, tonight or tomorrow or next month, when that call comes up, I know and I trust that you're going to answer that call. You will represent this organization in a manner that it's deserving of. So thank you for that commitment to doing what we do best here, and that's saving lives. So one more round of applause, please. Congratulations to everybody. Well done. It's a privilege to work with you at the State Patrol. There's a big cake back there, which means we're pushing stuff back a half hour so we can have cake. And congratulations. Have a great rest of your day.